This is TWiT.
So the rules of the capture the flag.
Yes.
The flags are pieces of information that the companies have?
Yes.
Are they actually flags? Like, is someone putting these pieces of information, or is it really just the company's actual security mistakes?
Right. I would even go so far as saying security mistakes, because they're things that they're seemingly innocuous. So there's types of things like what operating system to use, right? You know, when we bring out our computers or our phones, that stuff's usually pretty apparent, but you don't need to share that with the world, right? They'll see it if they're in front of you, but you don't need to share that kind of stuff, especially what type of version you're running. If we can find that type of information, then we're able to tailor exploits for your specific machine, and that's an issue for you. It's the easiest way for us to hack in after we pass that off for a technical attack. And then there's other, even more seemingly innocuous information, things like who is your janitorial service, right?
Well, how would that let you in?
It seems like you wouldn't be able to get anywhere with that, but think about, if I'm trying to get into this building, right? If I find out who your janitorial service is or your pest extermination service provider, if I find that information out, and I do find that information out every year for DEF CON, usually what happens is the vendor will post on their LinkedIn tagging all of their clients with them inside the building. They're trying to build professional relationships, but now I know what you wear when you're in that office. I know who your point people are. I know how to get in. I know your access points, right? I know where all the machines are. It's a huge issue. And I would use that. I would pre-text as that person, which is presenting as that person. I would wear the uniform. I would figure out what your badges look like and make a clone. I would find my way in by pretending to be that person who works with you.
So that was where part of the video, the pretext. And I think,
Yes.
Carson, we might have a little bit of that video where you're learning to be someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you do that? Like, how do you here
Yes.
here you are as someone who is not you?
Yes. And so the way that I learn to act as somebody else. So this doesn't always mean that I'm pretending to be that person. A lot of times I'm just trying to mimic the way that the other person interacts, so that when we talk and when we interact, it feels harmonious. It doesn't feel hard, right? Like, and I even did this for you.
You did?
I did. So like before I came on the show, I saw, how do you speak, right? How do you interact? What's your cadence sound like? What's your volume sound like, right? Because if I'm over here screaming and being super exuberant, it's not gonna match you. And then the video is going to look awkward, right? So it's like breaking the fourth wall. It's real meta, When you think about it, like you want to match people, and we do this inherently all the time. But in the video, you can see me kind of using the mannerisms, right? The way that Chris Hadnagy speaks, or the way that Michelle turns her body when she has that conversation with the audience. If I can do that, if I can mimic that, then you're going to feel more comfortable with me. You're more likely to share information about yourself. And if I can do that over the phone, if I can match your tone, your voice, your volume, the things you like to talk about, it's more likely that we'll be able to report quickly, and you're going to give me more information.
No wonder I gave you my social security
Yeah,
number right
as
when you
soon as I
through the
walked
door.
in. You didn't even say hi. You just said, here it is.
No, I did think that I liked you immediately, but I don't know. You're a
That's 'cause I
likable
hacked you.
person, so it's not, maybe it's because you hacked
Thank
me.
you.
Oh my goodness, this is crazy. So the companies that you hack into, they don't know
No.
beforehand. It's not like
They
they
don't.
have an agreement, so it's there. And then
No.
then DEF CON tells them afterwards.
Yes. So the companies that we're hacking into have no idea that we're going to hack into them. And if they did, it would probably make us hacking into them, it probably wouldn't work as well, right?
Yeah.
They'd send out emails, don't pick up your phone, things of that nature. Chris Hadnagy and the group that runs the social engineering capture the flag, it's social-engineer.org. They have amazing lawyers, so they're able to do things like pick companies. And the flags that we're looking for are they're not exactly what you'd look for if you're trying to do a technical hack, right? Because if we were trying to do that, password information, that kind of stuff it's too extreme to be doing in front of a live audience. You don't know who's in the audience. So instead we do things that are things that we could use to build rapport with somebody on the phone to lead to those really critical pieces of information, those really dangerous pieces of information. things like what operating system do you use, what version, what mail client do you use, things of that nature. And they're all worth different point values based on how critical that information is. So the version information of the software is a higher point value than whether or not they block websites, right? The more specific you get, the higher point value. And then the highest point value is 26 points. And you can only get this when you are in the glass booth and you hack in and you try and get them to go to a fake malicious URL. And if you're successful in that, basically you've shown that you'd be able to get your way in, because at that point you can take control of their machine. But they're not actually going to a real malicious URL. We're just simulating what would happen.
So you can prepare for this beforehand.
Yes.
But then during the competition, you're in a glass box on a stage.
Yes.
I think we have pictures of you in the glass
There
box.
I am in the glass booth.
So what do you bring with you to that glass booth? Like, what do you have in front of you?
Yes. It is one of the most harrowing experiences of my entire life. I mean, I've bungee jumped into the Nile River, and getting into the glass booth at DEF CON was way scarier. Kudos to anyone who just even gets into that booth. We have contestants every year who are like, oh my gosh, I didn't get as many flags as I wanted. But no, just sitting in there is terrifying. You're in front of 500 people. Most people bring either a laptop or they're going to bring like a set of notes. And what this is every single script that you have for every single target and every pretext. So to break that down, I have this past year at DEF CON, I had 7 individual pretexts, which basically means I had 7 different ways of entry, 7 different targets that I was going after. But I actually brought in like 100 or so numbers so that I could call phone number after phone number and use similar types of impersonation techniques to get in. Each one is me pretending to be somebody on the inside. So maybe I'm somebody from HR calling somebody in a different department, or maybe I'm somebody in customer support calling another customer support group and saying, we've had a lot of quirkiness on the network today. I actually just received a call from you. I'm spoofing your number. This is really weird. Why is this happening? Let me take down what operating system you use. Let me take down which phone system you're using right now, right? So that we can give it to our managers and see why this weird quirkiness is happening right now. So it's pretty much every script I'm going to use, every phone number I'm going to use, and any information I need to relay with Chris Nagy, who's doing the spoofing, which is showing the caller ID as a different phone number than you're actually calling from.